Forget everything you think you know from Hollywood. Forget the screaming monsters that just run and bite. Today we are dissecting a legend that was much more complex, much more dangerous, and much more intelligent than any movie could ever portray. We are talking about the Tyrannosaurus rex. The name itself means the tyrant lizard king, and trust me, it earned that title every single day of its existence. We are going back to 66 million years to late Cretaceous period. This wasn't just a world of animals, it was a world of titans. But even among titans, one name stands alone. Why? Because the T Rex was a masterpiece of biological engineering. In this 10-minute breakdown, we are going deep into the bone crushing reality of the greatest predator to ever walk the earth. T Rex didn't just appear out of nowhere. It belongs to a group of dinosaurs called tripod. But the ancestors of the T Rex were actually quite small. Millions of years before the king, its relatives were human sized hunters. Evolution took those small, agile predators and dialed the power settings to maximum. By the time of late Cretaceous arrived, the T-Rex had conquered Laramidia, the island continent now called Western North America. It didn't have any rivals. No other predator could even come close. It was the absolute top of the food chain, a position it held until the very second that asteroid hit the planet. But to understand its dominance, we have to look at how it grew from a tiny hatchling into a 9-ton nightmare. Here's a fact that most people don't know. A baby T-Rex was actually quite cute. They were born covered in a light down fuzzy feathers. They look more like weird, long-tailed turkeys than monsters. But don't let that fool you. A T-Rex hatchling had to grow incredibly fast to survive. During its teenage years, between age 14 and 18, it went through a massive growth spurt. We are talking about gaining 1,500 pounds every single year. During this time, they were lean, leggy, and incredibly fast. They filled a different niche in the ecosystem. While the adults were heavy tanks that crushed the bones, the juveniles were skulls that could outrun almost anything. This meant that the T-Rex family effectively controlled the entire landscape, from the fastest prey to the biggest armored giants. People think of dinosaurs as dumb lizards. For the T-Rex, that couldn't be further from the truth. Using CT scans of fossilized skulls, scientists have mapped the T-Rex brain. The results were shocking. The T-Rex had one of the highest encephalization coefficients, which is a fancy way of measuring brain-to-body ratio among all known avian dinosaurs. It wasn't just acting on instincts, it was processing complex data. Its cerebellum was large. Suggestion is could have had social behaviors or even coordinating hunting strategies. And let's talk about those senses again. Because they were superhuman, its sense of smell was powered by massive olfactory bulbs. It could smell a carcass from miles away, but it could also track the living breath of an animal hiding in the bush. Its hearing was tuned to infrasound vibrations, so low that humans can't even hear them. It could literally feel the heartbeat of its surroundings. Now let's get into the biomechanics. The T-Rex skull was built like a biological safe. It had cranial kinesis, meaning some of the joints in the skull could move slightly to absorb to massive shock of its own bite. When a T-Rex beat down with 80,000 pounds of force, it wasn't just trying to kill the animal, it was trying to erase it. The teeth were shaped like railroad spikes. They weren't just sharp, they were incredibly strong. While other predators like Allosaurus had thin, knife-like teeth to cut flesh, the T-Rex had thick, white teeth that could explode bone. Scientists have found Triceratops bones with T-Rex bite marks that go all the way through the thickest parts of the pelvis. This animal was a literal bone crusher. It ate the marrow, the bone, and the meat. This is the most conversational topic in paleontology. Was the king fluffy? Evidence from relatives like Tyrannosaurus shows that large Tyrannosaurus could have feathers. However, skin impression from T-Rex itself shows scales on parts of its tail and body. The most likely reality. It was a mix. Imagine a T-Rex with patches of feathers along its back or neck, used for display or temperature regulation, while the rest of his body was covered in tough, bird-like scales. It wouldn't look like a giant chicken. It would look like a prehistoric dragon. Those feathers might have been brightly colored, used to attract mates or intimidate rivals. It adds a whole new level of cool to the animal. For years, some scientists argued that T-Rex was just a giant scavenger, a glorified vulture. They said it was too slow to hunt, but we have this smoking gun evidence that proves them wrong. We have found fossils of Adventosaurus with T-Rex bite marks that had actually healed. That means the T-Rex attacked a living, breathing animal, but the prey got away and lived long enough for the bone to grow back. You don't get healing marks from a dead carcass. T-Rex was an apex predator. It was a pursue hunter. It would hide in the tree lines, using its camouflage and its incredible patience, and then launch an explosive attack. At 20 miles per hour, 80 tons of muscle hitting you is like being struck by a freight train. There was no surviving that. The reign of king ended in fire. 66 million years ago, the Chicxulub asteroid struck the Yucatan Peninsula. The impact was equivalent to billions of atomic bombs. The T-Rex didn't die because it was weak. It died because the entire world's food chain collapsed. No sunlight meant no plants. No plants meant no herbivores. And no herbivores meant the king had nothing left to rule. But look around you. The T-Rex lives in our imagination, in our science, and in our birds. Every time you see a hawk or an owl, you are seeing a tiny version of that three-part blueprint. T-Rex remains the most studied, most famous, and most respected creature to ever exist. It was the perfect storm of power, intelligence, and survival. It was, and always will be, the king of the dinosaurs. Thanks for staying with me for this 10-minute deep dive. If you want more straight fact dinosaurs content, make sure to destroy that like button and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what dinosaur should we cover next, and I will see you in the next one.